Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me. This is Jana with Purple Girl Crafts. Today, watch what happens when I open this card. The circles rotate in opposite directions. So we're going to make this card. This card measures about 5 by 7 and it's the same basic as the rotating card that you may have made already that I've shared before. Let's dive in and get started. Our first piece is going to be our base piece, and this piece is going to be cut at a 10 by 7. And then on that 10-inch side, you want to score that at 5 inches. So we'll set that aside. Then we're going to need 3 pieces, and all of these are the same size. They're at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So I did 1 in the gray, and then I did 2 in the yellow and white polka dotted paper. Next, we will need 1 piece, and this is going to be 3 1/2 by 4. On the 4-inch side, we are going to score this at 1/2, 1, 1 1/2, and 3 1/2. Then we're going to turn that on the 3 1/2-inch side, and we're going to score it at 1 1/4 and 2 1/4. And that's the piece we'll have. And I'll mark that up later. All right, so we're done with our scoreboard, so let's move that out of the way. Then we need circles, and I already cut these out, so I just laid them down and put the smaller one on the inside, the bigger on the outside. And I've got the measurements on here. So the first one is 3 1/4 by 1 1/2, and the next one is 3 3/4 by 2. And so you can do those. We're not going to cut the card this time and have a window in the front, so you could just cut those out. All right, for this piece, I'm going to grab my pencil. And I'm just going to show you where you're going to cut the pieces away. So everywhere I put in an X, we're going to cut that away, and then we're going to cut half of those 2 flaps on the one side. So I put an image up on the top. You can see everywhere that it's black, that's where we're cutting it away. So the easiest thing to do is just start on one side, and I'm going to cut the 4 score marks first. Then you turn it, I'm going to cut the last one on the bottom, and then turn it again, and then just cut those away, again, cutting that 1 1/2, and then cutting that last one off. So that's the one side. And then we'll do it again. So we'll cut the 4 score marks first. And then we'll cut off that last tab. And then half of that one, and then the very bottom one. Again, so this is the piece that you'll end up with. Next, we're going to glue down those sides. Oh, actually, we're going to score this first. So I'm just going to move those out of the way because we're going to do our diagonal scoring. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard. I'm going to line up those corners, so that bottom corner to there. And we're just going to score that. And then we're going to turn it and score the other side. Now, if you can't see the edge, you can just flip that little flap up the other direction. So that way you've got it right in the corner where it needs to be. And then just go ahead and score it. All right, so we're done with our scoreboard. Next we're going to do is we're going to put glue on those 2 flaps. And then just flap those, close them on themselves, and then just make sure that glue sticks, and we'll give that a second to dry. Again, that just adds strength to the mechanism. Then you're going to take all those fold marks and you're going to crease those out. So do the diagonal ones. Turn it to the other diagonal. And then we'll score that end one. Just pop that in. And then just crease that out. And then to fold this, what you want to do is just kind of push it on itself. Just make it collapse on itself. So kind of push in where that X is, and it'll slowly start to collapse. And then you just want to lay it down on top of itself and flat. And when you turn it over, you want to make sure that those 2 legs are not overlaying each other. So as long as they lay side by side, you did a great job. So that will make sure that the mechanism works and it is smooth when it opens and closes. And so I'm just going to hold that and show you. So when the card opens and closes, that's what the mechanism will do. And this is a really good mechanism for so many different cards. You don't need to do it with the rotating cards. All right. So on the card, now everybody has seen many times of gluing. So I'm just going to glue the top piece down. And you do want to make sure that you fold this in half. And you could have done that first before you put your paper on. And then on the inside, we're going to put these two polka dotted pieces. There's a plane flying over, so I hope it's not distracting my voice. And then we'll put the other one on the other side. All right, now for the circles, I pull those off the die cuts that I had. So you have 4 pieces, and we're going to use all 4 of them, but we're going to use 3 of them on the center of the card. Right, so for the mechanism, you want to make sure that it's far enough down. You can have this in the center or on one of the sides. Mine, I'm putting it more on the left-hand side, but I want to make sure that when I have it, it's not overlaying on the card. So I want to make sure it's not over too far and that it hangs out. So I'm going to put mine probably about 2 inches from the edge. That's about 1.5 inches. I'm going to move it over just a little bit when I glue it down, so I want to make sure it's just a little bit more. But again, you don't really need to measure this. You can just put that on there. All right, so we're going to glue that last flap down. And you want to make sure that is pressed up against the center of the card and then just close it on itself. All right, and then make sure you have no glue on the other side and make sure that it's secure before you start moving it so that it doesn't mess up the mechanism. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to put the bottom piece on first. I'm just going to show you this is how it works on the card, so it moves freely. So you want to lay this closed, take the smaller of the 2 circles with a hole, and you're going to put those both under those 2 arms, and then we're just going to lay it down. Now you want to make sure that it's got clearance so that that tab is not in the way anywhere. As long as it's in the center and it can move freely, that's where you're going to glue this. Now you can put a pencil mark if you want. I'm just going to lift it up, knowing where I want it to glue. So I'm just put my finger there, and then I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue right here in this spot. You don't want to put too much glue because you do not want it to get stuck. All right, then for the other one, I'm just going to make sure that there's no extra glue on here. All right, now for the bigger circle, this is going to get laid right on top of the other one. So I'm just making sure everything's flat. And then we're just going to lay this, but we're going to put it between the 2 legs, and then we're going to glue that other leg right on top. Now you want to make sure this is in the center and it's lined up pretty close with the other one. You just see mine's a little bit off on the side, but that's okay because it helps to move the card. It helps the card move. It's kind of interesting. Then we're going to put glue on this last tab. I'm going to turn it over now. I've got the tab facing to the left, and then I'm just going to close the card on itself and then just glue it down. I'm going to use my bone folder. I just want to make sure that it's secure before I start opening and closing the card. And as you can see how the 2 circles are moving in opposite directions. That looks pretty good. Okay, then for the inside of the card, that's what we're going to work on next, are the embellishments. So I've got a whole tray of my cups and my bears. So this is a bear that I drew. So we're going to use this after coffee. I had started another card, and I'm just going to use this one on here because it just kind of blends with the coffee cup colors. And I've got my little bear holding a cup of coffee because now he's had his coffee, so he's dressed and he's happy. And then I've got a bunch of coffee cups and coffee beans that I hand drew. And we're just going to put these all around the card. So I'm just going to lay a couple of these out just to show you. So I'm just going to put them just up and around like this, and the coffee beans will go on the bottom circle. Again, I like to just lay all my pieces out first just to make sure everything fits and looks good before I start gluing things down. Yeah, well, that looks about pretty. That looks good. And then again, we'll put the beans on the outside piece. All right, so now I kind of know where everything's going to go. Let's just see how the beans look. Yeah, they look good. All right, so we're going to take everything off, and I'm going to start to glue these down. And when you glue your pieces, you want to make sure that they don't stick out too far, and that they make the card get caught on either the mechanism or on the fold of the card. Again, I'm just testing it just to make sure, and it's clearing it fine. And now I do the same thing with the coffee cup because it's going to go into the mechanism when I close the card, and that works fine. All right, so the rest of these, I'm just going to lay these down. Like I said, this card, you could do so many different themes with this kind of card. You could do flowers, you could do animals, you could do pizza. Just there's possibilities are endless. I'll just put one there, and then I'll just finish putting the cups on. Okay, perfect. All right, then we're going to do that inside piece, and that is the after coffee. I'm just going to put this on. I'm going to put it off just centered just a little bit. Looks like I got some glue on there when I glued those down. I'm just going to clean that off. Yes, I like it right about here. You can just do it just off center just a little bit because the circles are off centered and it still looks great. So we're going to put glue just on that arm and just around on the edge of it. And then we'll glue that piece down right about there. Yep, I like it like that. Right, then the bear is going to sit on the inside right here. So make sure that looks straight. Looks a little crooked. So we'll put the bear on the inside, and then we've got one where he's still in his robe and he just woke up. At least that's what I think. All right, so then just go ahead and just secure him down. And then for the front of the card, I'm going to put the bear on there. So he'll go on the left side. And then I'll do that, use that other circle that I'd cut out. We'll do the before coffee. And then we'll do a coffee cup. And the coffee cup has no coffee in it. I decided I wanted to add just a strip of paper, so I'm going to add a piece of gray paper to here too. And I'm using the same piece as the base of the card. And this is just an extra piece that I had. So I don't like that there, so I'm just going to grab a gray piece here in a second. So this is about a 1-inch piece. So I'm just going to lay this down, and I'm going to kind of tuck it under the bear just so it's just right behind him just a little bit. And then we're just going to put that before coffee right on the card. Let's put it right about here. And I'll just cut that extra piece off. Yep, that looks pretty good. Looks a little crooked, but okay, then I'm going to put the coffee cup on the bottom, and then I'm going to add just those extra few little beans that I had left over. And you can put them either on the gray piece or you can put them on the side too, whichever one you prefer. I think I kind of like them better on the sentiment. Yeah, just like that. And I'll put that one probably at the top. Yeah, I like that better there. All right, so we'll glue these down. And just like that. All right, so that is the card that we made. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Please watch Facebook for some new images. These bears may be included in this next release. Until next time, happy crafting. Again, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.